Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to the Friar Talk podcast. Today we're going to be talking about this little mailbag question that we posted about what you guys' free agency plan would be. We got a couple responses there. Some of them are a little outdated just because some of these guys already got signed, unfortunately. And trust me, some of these guys were definitely on our boards for what the Padres should do in free agency. But the first one is from Alf, and it's I don't really want to, but I think trading Nola would help us. We already have plenty of catches, and I think with some lower level prospects, he could get us an outfielder or get us the cash to get free agent like Schwarber. Chase, what do you think about trading Nola?
Um, I don't agree with it. I think you kind of have to keep him, especially with the way that the rotation is now. I mean, we saw what Nola did when he came into 2020 and how well the pitchers worked with him, and we saw the impact that when he was out, that Caratini really didn't have the offensive production to really be a solid staple in the lineup, and how much we desperately miss Nola in that aspect. He works really well with the pitchers. He calls a great game. He's one of the best defensive catchers there is out there. The only part of his game that really is lackful is his power, but outside of that, he hits some really clutch doubles and singles to score people. I think he's going to be a staple in the lineup. And there are other catchers to trade. I honestly don't know why we traded for Jorge Alfaro. It was looking more and more like he might be the starting left fielder, which I don't think any of us agree with. But yeah, unfortunately, if you're gonna trade a catcher, I would prefer it to be Caratini or Campy. Campy would get us a lot more money than compared to Nola, if that's the route you wanted to go. But at this point, I think you keep Campy. You put him at DH until his catching game is there. He gets to learn from Austin Nola at the big leagues. Thinks that's the move you do, and then you try to either sign a left fielder or trade for one. I think you have the right idea at the end, but unfortunately, Schwarber's gone too. I mean, he signed a deal that the Padres couldn't afford anyway.
Yeah, so I don't think the idea of trading Nola is really something that's on the Padres' mind. I think they do want to get rid of a catcher for sure. I think we can look to get rid of probably Campusano, I would assume. Um, Trading Austin Nola shouldn't really be on the table, especially because some of these pitchers had some of their best games under Austin Nola, and they seem to be really, really comfortable with Austin Nola behind the plate. With that being said, though, I think you will see a catcher traded. Chase is right. It's looking like with every day that comes, Jorge Alfaro might be the starting left fielder, which is what an atrocious thought. I never thought that would come from trading for Jorge Alfaro, a team that, we brought it up multiple times, a team that you need a target. And I know they already signed a catcher, but the Orioles, especially because there's new reports that they're interested in trading Cedric Mullins. Now I think that would take a lot, but there's another outfielder they have that's he's all right. He's only going to cost 700 grand this year, and he posted like a 2.5 WAR last year, 2.5. So I forgot his name. I'll remember and I'll post it in the comments if I remember. But I think he'd be a solid addition. But moving on to the next one, we got this one's unfortunately a little outdated. Trade Myers, sign Suzuki, Soler, and Rosario. Eddie plays left, Soler is the DH, and you just added affordable power to both sides of the plate. Yeah, we know what happened there. Suzuki signed, Rosario signed. The next one is sign Jorge Soler as your DH. In turn, play Kim at short and try to make CJ Abrams your mookie bets by penciling him in right. Problem solved. Also, take the opportunity to see if Kim can play the outfield and become a super utility player like Chris Taylor. And by the time Nando comes back, the Pats could be sitting pretty well with one of the best and most versatile lineups in the NL. Chase, what do you think of signing Jorge Soler, making Kim your shortstop until Fernando comes back, and penciling in Mookie and right, or not Mookie, CJ in right field?
I think that's something we can all agree with here. I think that is more than likely what's going to happen. Um, I'm assuming with this comment, you move Myers over to left, and then you put Kim in, or not Kim in right, Abrams in right, which I think that makes more sense. You get a faster guy in Abrams out there in right field to handle more of the right field wall, and with Grisham there, you'd probably get a lot better defensive play from both your outfield, and Kim and Myers can play a better left field. However, it looks like they really want CJ to play shortstop, if not second base, right now. It looks like he's been getting a lot of reps at shortstop. He's going to be getting a lot of at bats in this upcoming spring training game. We'll see what they do tomorrow. We are recording on Thursday. So we'll see tomorrow where Abrams plays. If he starts to play some outfield, then yes, absolutely put him in right field, put Kim at short, and see, because we really haven't seen what Kim can do. We've seen him in limited at bats, kind of very erratic playing time. And when Tatis went down originally, Kim did a pretty solid job at filling in. I mean, he had like 7 games in a row where he had an RBI. They weren't like super hard hits. They weren't home runs, but an RBI is an RBI with this team. And I don't know if they're going to put Kim in the outfield. That's one of the things we've advocated for in the past. But it looks like he's just going to be that super versatile infielder that can play every position. Maybe throw him at first, see what he's got. I mean, can't be worse than Eric Hosmer.
Yeah, so I think we've at least I have been an advocate of trying out CJ Abrams in right field just because I think he'd project really well out there. I think he'd be a really good right fielder. Um, with that being said, it looks like, and we've sent it in our and talked about it in our group chat how he's looking like he's gonna get a lot of reps at shortstop in spring training. So it's kind of just a hypothetical at this point. I really want to see him in the outfield. I think he'd be an amazing outfielder. I think he could be a really good utility player, somebody that could play all the outfield positions and shortstop and second base. Um, but moving Kim to short permanently is looking more and more likely right now as I see things about the shortstop position regarding the Padres. It looks like he's going to start out at short. It looks like Cronenworth might get some reps at short as well, and that's what we're going to head into the season with. I don't know what's going to happen with Abrams unless he has really good spring training. He needs to have supposedly better than Tatis 2019 spring training. He needs to do better than Tatis did in 2019 spring training in order to crack the roster, is what I've seen. Um, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But as of right now, it looks like he'll start in the minors possibly, and we'll see Ha-seong Kim take a lot of reps at shortstop. And that's great. We want to get Ha-seong Kim a lot of reps. He's only $7 million. So if we can get maximum production at Ha-seong Kim, who posted a 2 WAR last year despite only having a 622 OPS, I mean, there's a lot of good things to come because obviously there's a lot of upside there when you post a 2 WAR with low numbers at the plate. But signing Jorge Soler looks more and more possible. I think that'd be great. We've talked about it. If he was playing at Petco last year, it's projected that he would have hit 35 plus home runs or 40 plus home runs. So huge right there. I really think the Padres really want Jorge Soler. Next scenario, yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say there was a there was a report today saying that the Braves and the Padres seem like the best suitors for Soler. It was kind of those two teams battling it out to see who they can sign. So we might see him sign later this week, today. Who knows? If he signs during this video, that would be amazing. If it's the Padres, if not, you might see our faces be, get really upset, depressed, go through the 7 stages of grief and everything. But on to the next one.
Yeah, so for the next one, trade Hosmer, sign Soler, we can't do that no more. Sign Chafin, trade Nola, and mid-level prospects for Meadows and Zunino. Trade 2 smaller prospects for Voit or Bell. Let Abrams and Kim battle it out for shortstop while Tatis gets healthy. Then keep Will or flip him. That's a lot. So in essence, it's trade Hosmer, sign Soler, can't sign Suzuki anymore, can't sign Chafin anymore. So it's trade Hosmer, sign Soler, trade Nola, and middle-level prospects for Meadows and Zunino. So in essence, what I'm thinking is trading Hosmer is looking harder and harder by the day. For anyone who follows our Twitter, I kind of advocated for Eric Hosmer getting traded to the Royals since they're on this whole nostalgic train right now. And I think that's I think that's gonna be the best way for them to fill seats is if they get some former Royals that the fan base has generally adored. And I think as AJ Preller really needs to attack that right now. Of course, we want to see Hosmer gone, but it's going to be difficult. I think that's why we haven't seen any moves made right now. Signing Soler, I just talked about Soler, but trading Nola and mid-level prospects for Meadows and Zunino, I don't know about you, Chase. I like that idea. Even though you're getting rid of Nola, Zunino actually had a really good season last year. Maybe not at the plate, but he could definitely hit for a lot of power. I don't know how he is behind the plate. That's the only thing that's kind of like, it's tugging me a little bit because I know Nola has been fantastic behind the plate. But I mean, you're adding a lot of power by doing this trade. What do you think?
The only problem that I have with this, and it's the problem with trading Eric Hosmer, because all the Eric Hosmer trades that we've seen, they've involved Campusano. So I don't think you can just trade Nola away and try to keep Campy if you trade Eric Hosmer. I think you eventually you have to find a better stopgap than Zunino because he is older. He did hit for a ton of power last year. He would be good behind the plate, but then you have Zunino, who isn't all that quick, only hits for power. Caratini, who barely hits for average. And then Alfaro, who I think is like a career a little over 700 OPS hitter. And so if Zunino repeats what he did last year, okay, you have a power hitting catcher. You have Soler at DH, but then you have a question mark at catcher for years, unless you go out and sign another guy. But when we did our top 10 catchers, we realized the catching market isn't all that great. Like, it's pretty bad. Outside of like the top 4 or 5 catchers, there is a severe, and I mean severe drop off. It's like you get to Everest and look down type drop off. So I I don't know if you can keep Campy if you trade Eric Hosmer. That's the only thing that I see wrong with it. But other than that, it would have been a great idea if we actually could get Suzuki and Chafin. Our only redeeming hope right now is actually getting Soler.
Yeah, what kind of sucks about this is that basically all of these involve signing Suzuki. So, sorry about that, guys. We honestly didn't expect Seiya to go. I feel like he went kind of fast. Also, we definitely expected him to be a Padre. Like we were fully in on him being a Padre. Go for it.
I don't think any of us expected the Cubs. I don't know what the Cubs are doing, but I was not expecting Suzuki to go to the Cubs.
No, absolutely not. I was really surprised when they jumped in. I mean, they offered a lot of money, so it made sense for Seiya to go to the Cubs. Also, there's a no trade clause, so he is safe. So good for Seiya, sucks for us. Um, but yeah, basically the rest of these do have Seiya as their main priority, but I'll try and eliminate Seiya. Um, shoot, I don't know if I can. Um,
I know I'm reading through these. It's like, okay, Suzuki is what was it? A necessary signing right now. You have please AJ sign Seiya. Sign Seiya, move Eric Hosmer to DH or bench, Cronenworth to first, Abrams to second, Kim at shortstop, right field, Suzuki, left field, Myers. Well, it looks like you can still do that if you sign Soler, move him to left because we don't have another left fielder. You can move Eric Hosmer to DH, Cronenworth to first. And you can still do all that. You just have to replace it with Soler now. And then let's see. The last one. Rain priority number 1, sign Suzuki. Can't do that. Sign Kyle Schwarber. Can't do that. Maybe trade Myers. Can't do that now just because you wouldn't have an outfield. Okay, it would be trade Myers, Pagone. It's spelled Pagone, not me mispronouncing his name. Eggy Rosario and Javi Guerra to the Nats for Josh Bell and re-sign Keller. Keller re-signed already, so can't do that. Plan B, if we don't get Suzuki, sign Schwarber, sign Soler, which we can still do one of those. Keep Haas and Myers, platoon Profar Myers and Cronenworth to play first. Cronenworth to second base for the majority of the season. Have some games at shortstop, then have Kins and Abrams rotate at second and short, and start Abrams at DH. Wow. What do you think about that, Isaac? So that was a lot of information to come at you.
Yeah, I gotta read it all. So obviously Sandy Soler is still on the table. Talking about that, that's another 30 plus home runs that you're gonna add to the lineup. That's something we really need. It would suck to see him in the outfield because we know how that goes for Jorge Soler, but at the same time, if the Braves took the route where it was basically all offense, no defense in the outfield, then it's all right. I guess we can take that route too. Um, let's see. Platoon profile, Myers Cronengard to play first base. I'm glad you say Cronengard. That's awesome. Profar, what do you think of Profar at first base? I don't really like Profar at first base. I honestly don't really like Profar anymore at any position.
Yeah, I don't either. See, I know why people throw him at first base because they think first base is easy. But if you've watched the movie Moneyball, they say playing first base isn't easy. It's incredibly hard. Like playing first base isn't as easy as people make it to be. But outside of that, we kind of saw how Profar was in the outfield. We saw him give up a home run because it hit his glove and bounced out. So I kind of don't want to watch that again. So it kind of leaves first base and kind of just a depth infielder and an emergency outfielder. Which kind of means, yeah, you kind of have to platoon Myers and Profar because you definitely want to keep Myers as healthy as possible. So you want to platoon him in the DH position too. This is where having Eric Hosmer sucks because you kind of have to stick him at first base so the DH spot is open for another guy because I think it's too late to try to put Myers back at first base unless he was already getting reps and, during the lockout when they weren't supposed to be talking to teams. Then I don't think it's possible for Myers to get ready for first base within, what is it, 30 days, basically, a month? Not even a month, like 20 days. No. I like Myers at first base, but I don't think that's going to happen this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also don't think Abrams at DH is necessarily an option. I think he's going to be too good of a glove to not have out on the field. But with that being said, I mean, sorry guys, there's really not much to talk about considering all of our top option was Seiya Suzuki. And it seems like all of our second option was Kyle Schwarber. And both of those guys are off the table for anyone that put a Rosario off the table. Like, go for it.
I was going to say, and we all mentioned Eddie Rosario off the table. So, Isaac, Tommy Pham or Jorge Soler in left field? Who do you pick?
God, man, that's terrible. I mean, definitely Jorge. I mean, that's just like pick your poison. Not necessarily at the plate. Obviously, at the plate, you want Jorge Soler, but defensively, you're gonna suffer, and that's why the Padres need to be heavy in the trade market right now because free agency has nothing left. You're done in free agency. A lot of these guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad some of these guys didn't get signed by the Padres. 26 mil a year for Bryant is absurd. I actually the Schwarber contract isn't crazy. It's just not what the Padres have right now. Schwarber also historically does kind of miss a lot of games, so we don't know how that one would have played out. Seiya's was 5 for 85 and a no trade clause. I couldn't bear with that. I couldn't get on board with that. But a lot of these guys got paid. But I don't know, man. I don't know what free agency plan the Padres got left. I feel like AJ Preller is going to pull something crazy because I feel like he is trying to do something, but he's got to get rid of a contract first. We don't have enough money for that right now. And I know there's people saying, why are the Padres being cheap? Well, go look at their payroll. They're really not. They have so much money in the books right now that I think it's like over 200 mil. And if they break they're not a high market team where they can go ahead and break the luxury tax again. They know they'll get penalized and they can't afford to do that again because they're not the Dodgers who have, a big time TV contract and get all this money from that alone.
Yeah, so it looks like it's Soler or bust. It's Soler, or you're gonna have Campy at DH and Jorge Alfaro in left field. Because I don't even know who I prefer at that point. Pham or Alfaro. Neither are great options. Neither are good options. Tommy Pham played some horrendous left field though. I mean, just looking back at some of the plays, some of the miscommunication, so many of the balls that dropped right in front of him. I think you might as well gamble on Alfaro since you traded for him. I think you got to put Campy at DH at that point. There's not a lot of good options out there, guys. So I'm not going to lie to you. It's not looking good for us, especially, Dodgers signed Freeman. And if you haven't taken a look at that lineup, it's one of the best lineups that we have probably seen in our entire lifetimes. I mean, that is one scary lineup.
Yeah, so again, sorry guys. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys in this mailbag got signed, and I mean, we just had to put out a video out there to talk about our free agency plans. I mean, I don't really have much of it. We just got to go get Soler. Seems like Chase is on board with that. We just got to go get this guy, and it's time for the Padres to start looking into the trade market because Trevor Story's been adamant about playing shortstop. I never thought we were going to get him anyway, but for anyone who thought we were, he's been adamant about playing shortstop. That would only last for 3 months here, unless he's okay with the 1 year contract. But not many players in any sport would be okay with a 1 year contract with that talent because what if they get injured? What if something happens? Carlos Correa will not be a Padre for whoever has proposed that idea. I've seen it a couple times, but I don't know. We're just gonna have to see what the Padres do from here. Hopefully, Asia Pellers got something brewing with trades, and I mean, Padres got to make a move because this season, I'm not gonna say it's looking bleak because I do think we have a really solid rotation. I think we can still make the playoffs. We've still got a good team, still top 10 in World Series odds. So clearly, we got a good team, but that lineup over there in LA is looking scary. But with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in again, and we'll talk to you guys soon.